Hello, everybody. Thank you very much. I'm very grateful to be here. At the same time, I think I'm not the one that should be here. First of all, my colleague that I was together when we started the Film Theater, Giuliano Merhamis, should be here, but he was killed about 1.5 years ago by an unknown murderer and by unknown reason. The second person that I think should be here instead of me is the second person with whom I started the theater, Zakaria Zubeidi, the former leader of one of the main resistance movements in Palestine that decided to put the arms down and to join a cultural resistance. Not only is Zakaria not allowed to come to Norway, Zakaria is not allowed to leave the city perimeters of the small town of Jenin in the northwest bank. So unfortunately you have to do with me because we're lucky enough to have somebody with a Swedish passport in the theater. I was hoping to give the stage for a few minutes to Giuliano to describe the work we do. We'll see if that's possible, maybe later. Okay. So I'm going to describe briefly what happened 1.5 years ago. Giuliano, that was the visionary, the thinker, the leader in many ways of the Film Theater, was shot in his car just outside the theater with his 8-month son on his lap and the nanny on his side. Even though the Film Theater had previously and before that been under different kinds of threats, tensions with the local society, and under the general restrictions or limits that the Israeli occupation puts it under, the incident 1.5 years ago was the start of something new, a new level of harassments and persecutions against the Film Theater, and of course its staff and members. About 3 months after Giuliano's death, the Israeli army started coming in on a semi-regular basis, arresting people, harassing people of the Film Theater. And can we get the PowerPoint up? Okay. So behind me now, there's going to be changing pictures from different press releases of the Film Theater. This is a statement by Giuliano.
The Freedom Theater is a place where people can think freely, where people can test their thoughts and their desires and their dreams, a place that people can be equal in sex, equal in rights, a place that people can cooperate. Look, theater is a place where you can dream. And we don't dream anymore. Even the small kids, the maximum dream is about death. We lost directions, we lost the dream of a free society, of culture. You know, Palestine. This is not Palestine. This is the footsteps of the dust from the dream of Palestine. Whoa! It's me, it's them.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I mean, we lost the Intifada, we lost the public opinion, we fucked up because we were not clever enough. We were raged, angry, frustrated, desperate. You can't create a resistance with desperation. With desperation, you can create suicide bombers. And this is what we did. Because we were so angry, so hurt, so destroyed, that the only thing we could do is to blow ourselves in Tel Aviv. Now, once we learned that this is going to create the opposite, we might start a new kind of resistance.
13. Oh, so you're quite ready.
Yeah. And we are trying, in this gap between the occupation and the new authority, the Palestinian, to create a third dimension or third alternative. It's not so easy. صلي على النبي. لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله. الله أكبر. Children love us. Young people love us. Up 35, they hate us. So we have big conflicts with the society around, with the PA, Palestinian Authority. We have big conflicts with the parents, with the teachers. I mean, now we're going to do our next scandal, which is Alice in Wonderland. But our Alice is not a stupid girl who finds out that there is a caterpillar. Our Alice going to rebel. Hey, Alice! No! Alice! Tradition, religion, schools, Papa and Mama. She's gonna say, give me a break, guys. I have my own way. That's dangerous.
So behind me now, there's going to be changing pictures from different press releases of the Film Theater. This is a statement by Giuliano to symbolize what the Film Theater pretty much stands for and how we define the idea of cultural resistance. So while these slides that will change every 13 seconds will massage your ability to listen and to read at the same time, I'm going to continue talking about the effects, the consequences of these harassments. Well, of course, we don't know the reason for them. It is not that the Israeli intelligence gives us weekly reports on why they are doing these things, or for that sake, the Palestinian Authority that has also been, especially recently, been causing us problems. It is the consequence. They simply don't know the reason for it, but we know the consequences, the results of these harassments. And one of the main conditions under which the Film Theater operates is that we can establish a safe space that differentiates us from the society around us that is very much governed by a chaotic kind of mindset, fear, and fearing the other. So this safe space is where change can actually take place. Now, when the Film Theater is affiliated with military attacks, commando units, mass soldiers taking people in the night, etc., then this safe space will no longer be there, and the conditions, the basic conditions under which we actually exist or we can operate under diminish. Another reason is that maybe some of you know, but the Israeli intelligence, by constantly taking people for interrogations, they sow seeds of rumors and lack of confidence within society. Because if somebody is taking into an interrogation with the Israeli intelligence, what they do is that they trade. If you help us, we'll help you. We know that your brother needs a permit. We know that your sister needs a permit to go to hospital inside Israel, etc., etc. So when somebody has been in interrogations with Israeli intelligence, people become suspicious of that person. So when more than half of the employees in the Freedom Theater have been in interrogations with the Israeli intelligence, there's a lot of rumors around the theater. What is going on? Why are they doing this? What information has been given, traded, etc.? Can we really trust these guys? Are we willing to send our daughters to take part in the Freedom Theater acting school or to study filmmaking in this place? Another obvious consequence of these harassments is staff insecurity. I had, after a wave of arrest of staff in the Freedom Theater, I had a newly employed young girl that came up to me and said, "Jonathan, can you guarantee that I won't be arrested?" So I said, how can I, that's impossible, how can I do that? So she said, but if I get arrested, then my family will be very angry with me. I won't be able to stay working in the Freedom Theater. So this kind of insecurity among people who work in the Freedom Theater is also a negative consequence. Another reason, negative result, is insecurity among donors. All the ones of you who operate within NGOs, you know how you are a slave to the funding that you get from the donors, and suddenly there's somebody that causes problems here. There's any larger donor, UN organ or private foundation or something, don't want to be connected with problems. It should be clean, annual reports should be clean, etc. But suddenly here we have somebody that is constantly the Israeli army, and as we all know, Israel is a democracy. So if they do all this to the Freedom Theater, there has to be some problems there. So maybe we shouldn't be affiliated with these people. And when it happens again and again and again and again, then and the Freedom Theater starts calling out for support and call for actions and join us and write letters and so on, well, maybe they're exaggerating. Maybe that's too much. It can't be. So all these are things that cause us problems, and not to say the least, all the human resources it takes away from us. The focus, it shifts from the work we're supposed to do to the to campaigning and to get people released from prison and so on. And when we look at the reasons for why this happened, and when I told you that we don't know the reasons, maybe the reason is exactly the consequences to cause this mess, to cause this insecurity, this don't know where we're going, what's going to happen tomorrow, what are you going to do, what am I going to do today, am I going to be, is my door going to be bashed in the middle of the night, and so on and so on. And this kind of fear is what divides society and with which society is controlled. And how do we cope with it? How do we try to transform this energy, negative energy, into something positive? Well, let me then mention maybe a few of the positive results of all these attacks, which, I mean, it sounds strange to say positive results, but as a matter of fact, there are positive results, and we just heard before of art installations that by them being attacked we're actually able to spread the message way farther and wider than ever thought initially. So the same thing goes for the film theater as an institution. For example, the empowerment. We all in the film theater, we're together. We weld ourselves more strongly together if we deal with this correctly. The NGO society has been very much branded, especially in Palestine, probably also in Afghanistan and other places, as a channel for the Western aid to manipulate the societies according to their expectations and needs. Well, by this happening, we are able to break out of the view of the community of us as an NGO. Suddenly, we're no longer this internationally funded place. We're part of society. We are suffering the consequences of the occupation like anyone else in the camp. And it becomes very obvious. It leads to solidarity. The international community feels with us. They engage for us and invest an enormous amount of time. What we managed to accomplish, actually, through the many friendship associations we have around the world, is that as soon as these things happened, we send out the message to all of them, and they start campaigning in their own networks and communities. So we have international campaigns that are operating with very little need of our time being put into the campaign itself. It gives meaning to our work. You could say that these attacks against the Freedom Theater is also an indicator of success for us. It proves that what we're doing is on the right path, which is important. It's a very good quality indicator. I wish the funders would allow us to use that as a criteria. And so the question is, how long will we be able to cope, to last? What's the balance between negative and positive results? Was that the end of the... Okay. And I think for the Freedom Theater, we have found a formula that allows us to build a ring of energy around us, that for every attack that is guided towards us, this ring of protective energy around us just grows stronger. And I think it's very important for the international community to understand that the financial aid is a very important thing, but the aid that comes through solidarity in the long run becomes the most important thing. Thank you. Okay, I didn't have many important things to say after that, so maybe I'll have that as the grand ending. Thank you.